Parker, you've clearly collaborated with Christopher Guest several times, and Susan, I believe you're a newcomer to Guest's
Yes.
world. From your different perspectives, is there something really singular about Christopher Guest and his sort of brand of comedy?
Well, I think you get a lot of freedom, and you get to really utilize a certain capacity of building a character that you don't get to do in other films. I feel like when you're essentially writing it as you're speaking, because it's improvised, what you're doing on the spot. But there's an intense period, of prep, where you have to be so committed to, putting the pieces of the puzzle together and figuring out with what Chris gives you, what makes sense for this character in this subculture, in this unique, world. And so you meditate a lot, I work harder on Chris's movies than any other. No one works like this, so it's an opportunity to work in a particular form that with other actors who are adept at being fearless and generous, and I feel like we get to show how much we get to care about these subcultures.
You couldn't be a narcissist and be in a Christopher Guest film. There's no way. I mean, it's completely listening. It's supportive. And when I think of his movies, the number one thing I think of is kindness. His movies are kind. He is kind. The other actors are kind. And we're never talking down to a subject matter or to each other. There is just this sense of a heart-centeredness to him and his films.
Yeah, it's not judgmental.
No.
Or
snarky
we're not making fun
or elitist.
of someone. Yeah, it's inclusive, and it's also so much is chemistry between the actors, and we're talking as people. We talk all the time to each other, but we're also talking on so many different levels. And
and we're talking before we started shooting. Then we do our work for the day. Then we talk on the way home. And then maybe text some cool emojis. I mean, it's just it doesn't stop the way real sisters would.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about these characters, Cindy and Lacey Babineau, as well as about kind of the special mascot that you both bring to life.
Well, Lacey Babineau is who I played, and she does nail art in a mini mall in Mississippi. She's a granny, and she has 2 children, and one of her little girls had a little girl. And she just loves her sister, and my character, I think, lives vicariously through Cindy because I'm not a mascot. I'm more a broken ankle early on, so my dreams of pageanting and becoming Miss Mississippi and being a cheerleader, all the scholarship stuff went out the window. So I went more of the domestic route, maybe the more traditional mothering route. So I find her exotic, exciting,
and I've been able to
dancer.
have a spotlight on me, and the freedom of being not tied down to your kids.
Yeah,
and to
that's good.
That husband you were married to,
Dale.
And Dale was
He was
stale.
Dale was stale.
And we, it was fun. It's such a great.
Tell us about your mascot.
I'm my mascot. So I went to Amelia Earhart College for Women in Sandy Springs, Mississippi, and I took some dance class there. I had a teacher, a modern dance teacher, and we were cheerleaders in high school, but in college I found myself enjoying the stage, and dancing around and expressing myself. So I had an idea that this all-female basketball team, they didn't have a mascot. So I thought, what about an armadillo? That makes sense to me. Well, now Chris wrote this, of course, but I had to have it make sense. Now the armadillo, it's a 9-banded armadillo.
Oh.
And there's another armadillo that can't. The 9-banded armadillo can't roll up into a ball.
Oh.
So he's limited.
Yeah,
right?
that's tough.
But a normal armadillo can. So it was one of the things. And I was like, okay, now why a 9-banded armadillo and not a
So you're
regular
restricted.
armadillo? And there's a look to an armadillo when it's rolled up that looks like a basketball, and it's an armored creature, a prehistoric survivor, and for being in the deep South, and I thought, well, Cindy relates to this armadillo because it's run over a lot, and the Industrial Revolution was kind of a sad thing.
Yeah.
We should all be hitchhiking, and what happened to the horse and buggy, and she's a dreamer. So the look was kind of like steampunk, DIY, feminist, and staccato electronica garage band type music, which has now late in her age has become more poetic since she can't really do a lot of dance moves. So I think she writes a lot on the recorder, and is very content and looking forward to this competition.
Yeah, it's a big
where
deal.
She could have
Get to fly on a
have
plane.
and
That's so
receive
cool.
maybe an award
Right.
for all the work that she has done in this character of Alvin, and she can share it with her sister, and there could be this memento of
And you
of
always
their
got to
life.
love a free trip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.